we talking like ropes and everything? Like
just trampoline.
Okay.
Trampoline, no net.
Okay.
This is old school.
Gotcha.
This is like
I got you.
no safeties.
You just never know. I've seen so many movies where they got like a fucking in the backyard type.
I know it's no exposed springs, but we had a cover. We weren't like it wasn't a 12-year-old trampoline, but
that would have to. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense how you practice like that on. Yeah, that makes sense.
And we did
Bouncy.
enjoy our time as kids going to each other's houses.
Okay, so you went to an actual audition?
No. This isn't professional.
Okay, thank God.
And
You had me gone. I was like, I was ready for the story. I was like, what was your gimmick?
Backyard wrestling as a kid.
If you had to have a gimmick, what do you think? What do you think it would be? If you were like, what's my character? What would it be? Something kind of. It doesn't have to be specific. Give me a vibe.
Goldberg was the guy that was coming off his high back in the day. And Sting.
Oh, Sting was so cool, bro. I think my brother and I have like a special attachment to Sting.
Those two guys.
Well, honestly, Sting's entrance. Do you remember that? He would like come down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would come down like on a stick. Come down from the ceiling, like just, and his like special move was like a scorpion-looking leg lock.
And his paint is what's like.
Yep. And he came back. He's wrestling right now. He's back.
Iconic.
He's back. Isn't that nuts?
It's almost like a Kiss that he's motivated by.
Man.
Kiss the band.
Yeah, well, it's crazy you said that because they're touring in their 70 right now.
Guys.
I guess it's their
the
last
OGs.
Tour. Yeah, it's the Kiss. Yeah, they were just like
Gene and the whole gang.
How do you feel about that?
Dude, it's reminding me of Iron Mike, just getting in the ring recently.
That's a good point. That's a good analogy, actually. Yeah.
And when's the limit?
I don't think there is. Because at some point,
where is the ceiling at?
Can you be mad at someone for like taking care and paying their family? Like, it's a generational thing. Let me remind everybody about these old classics. Let's go get that tour money.
Mayweather said it perfectly.
The what?
Mayweather, when he just did it, and he came back, and he came out of retirement, and went 3, 4, 5, and all the way to 8 rounds, just so he could get a payday to improve his children's status.
Touché. But also,
we're seeing a lot of those happen.
Isn't it ironic how, like, because you do something like this, people have to assume he must need the money.
He must be broke.
And even if that was true, how much more badass is it? Let me go dust these hands off, bring home another how many million.
And he's able.
Fully.
Still.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, you know when I knew he was different? There's a specific workout that I knew Mayweather was different. And maybe this isn't even that crazy. This is probably like a normal fucking workout for like boxers, but it's when he had his head over the edge of the ring laying down like this, and he had a super heavy weight on his like neck and head, but like on a strap.
Like elastic bands? How's it?
Like if you imagined like
set up
an elastic leather mask, kind of like this, but it's on your head. And then it's tied to these little things that have a weight. No. So you're doing this extremely yeah, and that was on one of those like HBO fucking getting ready for the fight type of behind the scene things. But that was I was just like floored. I'm like, who's doing this workout? Who needs that kind of like every muscle in my body needs to be tiptoe? You know how many guys step into the ring out of shape all the time? Like you could just be reflexive enough to probably handle your own, I would imagine.
Of course.
It's smart, being smart, right?
As we see, and then we can accept that, and we can see, okay, we might be at this level, and whether or not average is here or here, we still see these guys like we were just speaking about.
Yeah.
Who are, and how can I say it?
I'd argue he's beyond just reflexive too, because he's like the counter king. Do you know what I mean?
Number one.
Yeah, so not only am I saying his body and every muscle tip-top shape, like superior fucking physique, but he's also the ultimate counter. Like, he's not even offensively going at you. He's waiting for you to come at him. Super admirable of way.
If you put that same filter onto that Mayweather fight, then you could say that Mayweather may have, if he was in better shape, would have ended it at the 6. Looking back at the old, but I mean, 20 years, 10 years.
You could argue defensive fighting is the reason
time?
he's been able to remain mentally, like, sane. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people suffer from, like, all the trauma and hits, but, like, being defensive, you're probably more aware, more protective of getting hit in your head.
Confidence is, like, playing a major role in that.
You think so?
Yeah. And the way he, like, speaks about the things he believes in and his ideas of generating
it's without a doubt, is what you're saying.
More for his family and being productive.
Leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about. I watched a video yesterday, and it was just basically about I should send it to you. This guy was a street dude trying to relate it to drug dealing, obviously, right? So he didn't want to say those kinds of words and stuff. But he was basically implying stop paying yourself first. Like that whole notion of take care of yourself first. And then he's like, no, that's backwards. And the analogy that he used at the end of this whole video had me floored. You ready for it? Imagine you're a hunter, right? I'm going to take this analogy to another level. You're a hunter, you got the food, you bring it back to your family, right? And your friends and your tribe. Do you think it's cool to be like, let me put my part aside first? Y'all go ahead and eat. Is that fucking,
that's
is that
tradition.
proper?
That's tradition.
Is that etiquette though?
The alphas go last.
Okay, that's
and by
right.
Alphas, we mean like it's meant to be said. The leaders let the ones whom we're not brainstorming and dictating
For sure.
all day.
Yeah.
Because that's brain power, and that's a different kind of energy. So.
Yeah, as opposed to like physical labor where you might need it immediately and you're
if
tired.
It's not, and each of those both levels are on like a mental
You'd say,
skill that
and consideration
they use
back
to
then, it's
commit
probably
their tasks.
probably on a different level.
It's still like just a tradition. It's a respect thing.
So with that being said, do you understand the analogy when it comes to money though? He was comparing that to money. Like, don't pay yourself first.
Of course.
He's trying to say take care of all your people, take care of your friends, your family, your homies, whatever. And on top of that, like, you feel better about it in the end, knowing like this is all mine. But he's always trying to say you put it all back into everybody first. Everything. Damn, I've never heard that, like, just in such a hunter-gatherer broken down way, because you related your food and energy to money, which is energy.
There's a multitude of different ways to dictate things. And even reading certain books, audio books, the Quran lays out percentages of a man's wealth and dictates whom inherits it.
What?
And so like the wife getting all of it.
Does it say like in an ideal world? Is that what it's trying to say?
I think his children and first son gets the biggest portion. Then it's the wives and the daughters have a different portion that's a little bit lesser. And it's all laid out very specifically, overarching. And if you listen to the audiobooks, even on Spotify, it's great. And it's it talks about the I don't want to quote the titles because
For sure.
but it's got a lot of different books and it's got a lot of different lessons and how it's all put together. It's very enlightening to listen to different. And I told you before, I am a Scientologist, and I believe on that path, and I believe in God. But learning different beliefs and reasons for those beliefs is definitely good knowledge.
Whether it's learning something new, isn't it also refreshing to get reconfirmation on what you already thought sometimes? Like, you're like, dang, that's just another way of something I've thought, another way put.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't even know which one's better because I like learning new shit, Moving on to the topic of
What have we covered thus far? We got in. We just left.
we did
I
the
was racing like.
we did like the
We wanted to talk about crypto.
yeah, that's what I was going into.
Okay.
That was next. In general, what are your thoughts on decentralizing currencies? And do you agree that most of them will all just kind of be worthless at some point? Like all these coins are just kind of hype? Like everything can't be worth something, right? Like that doesn't make
What's
sense.
the UN? United Nations?
Yeah, which
It's
is
a group of allies.
sure, yeah.
It's a
I know they don't take it very serious, but yeah.
group that's trying to bring in new initiates, and what's happening is more countries are becoming diplomatically democratic.
People are having voices.
What's the next step in a completely democratic globe? And that's a completely unanimous currency. Is the US dollar good for that? China owns the United States. We should use yen or what?
You're technically
How-
right. It's kind of scary,
What are
dude.
we going to use?
Yeah, it's
What are we
pretty
gonna
scary.
use? I'm stopped right there.
Yeah.
What's the pounds in England? We came from pounds.
What do you think China thinks of that when they see Americans putting their money into another currency? What do you think that they think of the US dollar?
China's probably got crypto miners that they're sending around the world to set up different
Bases.
crypto mining bases.
Operations.
And those may evolve into something that's closer to a whole world currency, or it may
Whoa, that's kind of scary.
just turn into the new Coinbase.
I get you, but that's like another level of monitoring is the problem.
But we cannot predict the future, and therefore lies where we're still stopped. So yen is Japan. What's China? I don't know, but it's got to be
Yuan.
It's got to be one.
Yeah.
One thing, and what could that one thing be?
On the topic of currency, isn't it kind of funny that you can buy like thousands of dinar because the Iran money is like worthless? So you could theoretically just sit on a lump sum of a ton of like worthless right now money. And this is an interesting conversation because when I worked I worked
what's it called?
the dinar.
Dinar.
Yeah. When I
Dinar around the world.
yeah, just look up the conversion and you'll trip, bro. Like I think it might be like 25,000 for like $100 or something crazy, something like ridiculous. But my point being is when I worked overnight at a CVS, I would go to this Whataburger every night, get some breakfast, whatever. And every time I'd walk in, I would talk to this manager, and this dude was like, "Oh man, I got thousands in this dinar, and when it takes off in a few years, when that economy gets back on its feet and stable, it'll explode. This currency is gonna be," and I'm just like, that was the first time I'd ever heard of that, you know? And then conspiracy me was like, hey, we would have never destabilized a country to jack up their currency again, would we?
Well,
Is that a thing?
for the purposes of
Has that happened?
two countries whom are aggressively offensive to each other, such as maybe some African countries. It may be something where one wants to destabilize the other, or one wants to kind of control that territory. Sunnis and Shiites
Sheesh.
in the, what's that, Eastern?
Yeah.
They do it all the time.
What did you think when I first told you about SHIB? Meme coin? Laughable?
It looked more promising than...
Because there was a point that you messaged me and you're like, I'm going all in. What did you find out that you're like, this is it?
It was when, not you told me, but when reading down below my assets, and so low that it was almost where it said licensing and la-di-da, but it says the percents of increase of the coin in the past year. 15 million percent. Correction, 10 million percent weeks ago.
Yep.
That was the tipper. Let's say it gets 1/10 of that this year. That's 1 million percent.
What would that equal though? Like in terms of
$1,000 investment? 1 billion?
no.
1,000 a million times? Maybe 100 million. But still.
The fact that it's over 1 million, that far over 1 million, if it increased a 1/10. Here's why it's so fucking
But if you want to go
hold on, no,
to like
no.
250s and 500s,
Yeah.
then it's just like hundreds of thousands. But if you want to put in 4K, jumps up, then good for you. 1 million percent on 4K, 400 million or 4 billion, who cares? If you started from 4,000,
Yeah.
you made that investment based on something that not only friends advised you of, but you checked the stats on. So
I'm tripping so hard at what you just said because I think it's a way bigger deal than anybody's aware of, because this was predicted to happen in 5 to 10 years.
no,
Hold 10 years. 10 years?
and it's been months since it's
What?
really taken its first steps.
What? And they haven't even rolled everything out.
And
They're barely starting.
I'm looking forward to what's
So
on the menu.
yeah, and there are a few places that actually take SHIB. Did you know that? Like around the world?
Countries other than
Yeah.
U.S.?
Yeah, like I think specific stores and things like that. So that's always the first start. You know what I mean? Remember how exciting it was when we were like, oh, you can buy something with Bitcoin?
That's what we need. That's what we need in the U.S. And it hit me earlier when I tried loading my Starbucks card and logging in, and
Such a
I had to
annoying.
reset my password
Yeah.
and
Yep.
2 different emails.
I've been there, dude.
And the girl behind the bar is like,
What are you doing?
I'll make you your drink, because I mobile order in the store.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to stand in line and like shuffle, so I just go and stand at mobile order. And the girl goes, so can I just make your drink while you were doing that? And she does. And dude, it took me so long, and the password never even happened. And I ended up paying with a card. But
Oh my
she
God.
heard me talking about crypto, and she pulls out her wallet and goes, these are my assets. And I look, and she's got one I don't recognize. And I said, what's that one? And her answer was, it was one she got for free because she enrolled to something, and she had like $128 of it. And it was probably the second lowest of her 5 assets. And the cool thing is, she asked my opinion on if she should convert to SHIB.
Oh my God.
She handed me her phone. And it's like, and I click
That's a
on
very
it,
specific question.
and I press convert. And
I thought you were gonna say
I
like,
press
I thought you were
preview.
gonna say, is there anything I should just invest in? Should I sell anything?
And she's watching, and we were talking the whole time. She's getting her phone back and looks at the preview screen and commits. I leave the Starbucks and I go to the jewelry boutique, and 10 minutes later,
Pops off.
no, it drops.
Oh my God.
10%.
Dang.
And I say in my head, This girl
gonna hate you.
is.
She's still working. She probably was still working. She probably was still working, bro. She probably didn't even
I
notice.
gave her advice.
I know, but she probably didn't even notice the
took it.
drop. She probably didn't even notice.
I know. I stare at my phone.
Hey, well,
But look,
she could be looking at it now.
6 hours later,
Yeah,
doubled.
yeah.
Doubled.
And consideration
They used
back
to-
then, what was it? Just like $100? Was it that?
Yeah.
Okay,
But
word.
150 to 300,
Oh, for sure.
dude, in a day.
Yeah.
And she offered to pay for my Starbucks, like,
What?
because I was still like, I heard her, but I kind of ignored it.
Yo, you have to go
And
back.
later I
You
said,
have to go back.
should I pay for this? Can I pay for this? And she went, yeah, let me ring you up.
It's
And she
funny.
rang up.
Dang.
But she's probably good. And I told her, I'm holding it for 1 year.
Dang.
Watch $150
Yeah.
do 1,000,000%. 10 million?
I think
100 million?
it's kind
10
of
million?
it's kind of far fetched. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Bro, yo, like,
Starbucks millionaires.
to be completely honest, I'm glad we're on opposite spectrums with this argument, because I think it's so far fetched. And you're like, numbers, you know what I mean? You're like, statistically,
It's on the screen.
yeah,
And it's been proven
yeah. So,
time and time
do
again.
you think the concept would be like community oriented, just everyone thinking this is how we do something?
And it's beginning that way, and it's beginning as a currency that
You know how many are?
is used inside, with you in the coffee shop, or you wanting to sell your berries that you picked, in Eastern Africa, from the bush, and you just wanting to sell those around to your friends. And then it grows into like now this community is established on.
What if I started selling my art
crypto.
only in SHIB? Don't pay me in SHIB only.
You put a clause in. You put a clause in saying, I have art for sale, but if you want it, you have to pay for SHIB, and you cannot live within the United States
Why? I don't get it. Oh.
because
It would help
you
those
only
people.
you only ship internationally.
But oh
in
my
a
god.
couple weeks, when you go to Brazil, you sell no art to anyone in South America, and you only sell to everyone else in the world. And you become not only the guy that has this special art, but you sold it from this country, and you never sell more than one piece in one country, ever. And you don't even post it on the internet until you get into that country.
It's not a bad idea.
That could be how you get your niche.
For sure. I think the problem only is there's only so many countries. You can only sell so many pieces of art.
220 something.
That's it. That's all I get in my life. I'm all bad.
But in SHIB, in 1,000,000%.
Oh my god, you're so ridiculous. Oh no. Hey, okay. What would 1,000,000 SHIB
Dude,
be worth if it multiplied times 1,000,000? Just holding 1,000,000 SHIB. Because I've seen videos where people are like,
250 million, maybe 2.5 billion.
"Shut up! You're
Right now.
you're so ridiculous. You're so ridiculous. You are a dreamer. I like it,
Put it on your art.
bruh. I am at the point where I'm like SHIB Army everything. Like, get me the merch, get me the shirts. You know what I mean?
need all of that.
Advocate
I
type
want
shit.
some of that.
Yeah, me too. I want to get the dog. Give me the everything. I'm not kidding. So if you ever had to open a business, what would it be? You ever thought about it?
I have 2 of them.
Oh, besides real estate.
Yeah. We just spoke about this earlier, me and a friend and another buddy. Either a sub shop, because
Like sandwiches?
yeah, because it's open during the day, and it doesn't keep people awake at crazy times of the night with responsibilities of dealing with intoxicated people whom cannot handle their, things because they never learned way back that if you want to be a responsible adult
Chill
in
out.
society
You're so
today,
ridiculous.
that
You had a
I
bad
not
experience
only
recently.
need to know, like,
Oh my
I
God.
not only need to be aware of the amount of alcohol being intook, but you also have to be aware of you are in society with people whom are not aware of your personality and whom are just drinking at a bar as a citizen.
Yeah.
So
It is crazy. We pay a lot of money to do something socially, right?